When it comes to raising and hatching fish fry, there are some do's and don'ts you can't afford to ignore. In this video, I'll show you the mistakes to avoid and what you should do instead to raise healthy fish fry. So stick around, you don't want to miss this one. Also, make sure you subscribe and hit that like button. Yo, before we dive in, make sure you guys check out my Monster Fish Journey docuseries. It's the ultimate way to catch up on everything, the highs, the heartbreaks, and all the insane growth in my monster fish empire. Think of it as the cliff notes to this whole saga. I just dropped the 4th chapter, and trust me, you don't want to miss where this is headed. I will post my new playlist on the end screen of this video. So do me a favor and make sure you check it out. Yo, if you're new to the channel, thanks for watching Pond Saga 5. I've been fish keeping for about 4 years, and I've had my YouTube channel for a little bit over more than a year. And let me tell you, it's been one heck of a journey, and I've learned so much. I learn something new every day. I make mistakes. I'm not perfect, but I'd love it if you guys came along for the journey. Subscribe to my channel so we can learn together and grow together. If you're new to the channel, thanks for watching Pond Saga 5. So I don't know if you guys can see, but my Oscars have laid eggs. They're sitting on top of them. They've laid a lot of little eggs that I'm gonna have to retrieve from here. These are the eggs at the bottom, and these are the Oscar parents whose eggs I will be trying to hatch. They're looking fertile. I'm gonna leave them in here for a little bit of time longer, just to see. It's okay, big boy. Just to see if these guys are like they're about to lay, and these guys are gonna lay. So I have 1, 2. I've had 2 already, so at least I have 4 or 5 pair in here that are going to lay. But I'm gonna remove these eggs sometime today. This is the 3rd batch of Oscar's eggs that my Oscars from my pond have laid, and I moved the eggs. Hopefully I didn't move them prematurely, which I don't think that I did. Hopefully I didn't. But out of all the last 2 batches, the first hatch rate was very successful. I've implemented a few different things. In this one, I've used water from an established tank, and I've also used water from my actual pond this time around for the hatching of the eggs. So right here is it's the 3rd day of me using well, here's day 3 of my Oscar eggs. And as you can see, there's a lot of wiggling. They're starting to hatch. I used the Methylene blue in here, but as you can see, there's quite a bit of fungus in here, and I've had it in here for the past 3 days with the fry. From looking at some other videos, they said that I should do a 50% water change after adding a methane blue to the water to kind of help with the mold, but it doesn't seem like it's really doing a good job. So I've been having to come in here and trying to break up some of this mold so that it doesn't basically consume all these wigglers that we have in here. So what I'm gonna do is do a 50% water change with water from an already cycled tank, because I'm guessing from what I've seen in the research that I should just do it that way, because this is my 3rd clutch of eggs, and I've got them to hatch, but I haven't gotten them to survive past 2 weeks. And I'm thinking because I left the methane blue in here last time for too long of a time, this is the 3rd day. And I'm gonna do a 50% water change up until the 7th day. So y'all stay tuned. So I removed a good amount of, you see that those are eggs, that's an egg that's unfertile, that's falling, it's like cotton, it's white and fluffy. I removed a good amount of them. As you can see, there's hundreds of babies in this batch that are moving around, so it's fertile, kind of like my first batch, but I've learned a lot from trying to hatch these. What I did was I did a 50% water change with some water from out of one of my other tanks. Actually the pond rather, that's already been, you know what I'm saying, cycled. So I'm not putting fresh water in here. I'm just taking some from out the pond and out the tanks that's already been cycled. And I'm not putting the filter on this time. I'm just running air stones until they start free swimming, and that's when I'll turn on the filter so it can filter out some of the food that I try to feed these guys. But over the next course of the day, as these hatch, I'm going to be trying to move out some more of this. I did a pretty good job at removing a lot of this this mold on these unhatched eggs, which the methylene blue was supposed to do, but it didn't do a very good job. So I'm hoping by me removing a lot of this fungus in here, it'll ensure a lot of babies hatch. At this point, it looks like I might have had a little bit over maybe about a 70% hatch rate. So I want to see how many I can get in this to last. So this is the 4th day. The eggs have been in here for 4 days. So basically this is their 2nd day of being alive. And I did a 50% water change on this tank yesterday with the methylene blue in here. So I'm also about to do another 50% water change in here. And I've been trying to scoop out as much of the algae and fungus that I could. It seems like there may have been from all the eggs that were in here that I put in here, it seems like there was maybe an 80% hatch rate. There are a lot of wigglers in here. So I'm gonna go ahead and give this another 50% water change. So here is after the 50% water change. As you can see, the blue tint has gone away a considerable amount, and I'll keep doing a 50% water change up for a whole week. The offspring all seem to be doing very well. Got a lot of wigglers in here. Hopefully this will be a good batch. They're looking really strong, very, very strong. They're all powdered up together. I can't wait till they start free swimming throughout this tank. And we'll be back tomorrow for day 5. I think in 3 more days, they will be free swimming. They're wiggling a lot right now, but they should be free swimming in about 3 more days. And then it'll be time to feed them for the first time. I'm gonna go ahead and do a 50% water change on this tank. Doing another 50% water change, and I'll do this all the way up to a week. As you can see, in the bottom is getting out a lot of the methylene blue. The water is you see that the water itself is blue. It has a blue tint to it, so that's what we mostly want to get rid of, because the fish won't be able to really handle these levels. So we're getting this methane blue out. I'm gonna keep doing this until the majority of it is gone. And I did about a 60% water change. To my surprise, there was quite a bit of methylene blue left in here because I saw a lot of it in the bucket. As you can see, there are quite a few hatchlings in here, and I did remove some more of the fungus / mold today. And I replaced this water with pond water. So, you know, we're gonna see what's happening, but so far so good. Everybody's looking alive and kicking. I have no idea how many hatchlings are in here, but it looks like a lot. And as you can see, some of them are already trying to, oh, is that one free swimming right there? Looks like there's one already trying to free swim. So they've only been alive for about 3 days now. I'll probably raise this a little bit. Did the guy come down yet? Yeah, I think he's down. I'm gonna raise this up a little bit. Keep it up from off the ground. I don't wanna stress them out unnecessarily or have them suspended in the air longer than they're trying to be, and you know, hurt them or damage them or anything. So I raise this up a little bit. But yeah, that's how we gonna play it today. This is day number 6, I believe. And right now I'm conducting another 50% water change. There are a lot of wigglers here, and a lot of these fish look so healthy. And I believe a lot of them will make it. A lot better batch than I had the last time. As you can see, the water, the bluish tint on the water has gone down significantly. So I'm guessing I'll only have to do this maybe 2 more times, which will be tomorrow and the next day as a 50%. Then I'll start doing the 20% water changes. But all the fish are seeming to do good. So this is after the 50% water change, and man, as you can tell, these guys have really put on some size. What I see present now is a tail, a yolk sac, and guess what, guys? Some of these fish have even started on day 3 to develop little fish eyes, which is cool. Also, to reiterate, I've been doing a 50% water change ever since I put these eggs in here, and I've been doing it using either water from an established. Real quick, I want to point out I added some filter floss to the bottom of this filter. I zip tied it so this way the fry won't get sucked up. This was a great idea when the fry were wiggling, but a bad idea once they started to free swim. This tactic would have worked better if I used more filter floss and made it a little bit longer, but I will show you in one of these clips why it's best to just use a sponge filter right off the bat. It would have saved me a lot of problems. Established tank, or mostly from the pond which their parents are in, because I do about 2 water changes right now per week on that pond, just to basically induce spawning, and also to make sure that the water quality is really good for the little guys when I use the water to put in here. But I don't know how many fish are in here right now. There's a lot of them. This is definitely a much higher successful hatch rate than I had in one of my previous videos, and I'm gonna link that one to this video as well on how not to hatch fish eggs, or the mistakes that I made while doing so the first time around, which I won't be making those mistakes anymore, because as you can see, there is an abundance of these little guys. And it's mainly due to me doing these 50% water changes every day rather than trying to guesstimate if I should do a water change or not. So to reiterate, even though you aren't feeding these fish yet, you should still be doing a 50% water change daily for about a week. So when I say a week, I don't mean since you put the eggs in here. I mean, like, you should be doing the water changes while they're still incubating inside the egg, but you should also be doing a 50% water change until they start to free swim. And when they start to free swim, that's when you can typically turn on a filter just like I did, so we can help filter out some of the food debris that's going to be in here when they start to feed. And what I also will be doing once they start to free swim is I'm going to be putting some tiny plecos in here to help out with cleanup duty. And what I've decided to do is to do about a 75% water change today, trying to get most of this blue tint out of the water. It's coming down significantly though, but I feel the more water that I take out, the better off everything will be. So today I did an 80% instead of a 50%. This is after the 50% water change, and what I'm noticing is the egg yolk sacs are getting smaller, and the fish themselves are increasing in size. That is a takeaway on day 6. A lot more wiggling. I presume that in maybe the next 2 days, all of these guys will be free swimming. and then it'll be time to feed them. All right, guys. If you've been following me on this journey, then you are probably excited like I am. I am now starting to see we have a couple of them starting to free swim. I'm gonna do a 50% water change right now. This is probably going to be the last day that it's going to be this easy to do a water change without sucking them up, because as you can see, some of them are starting to free swim. So that means that maybe today I'll give a little bit of food, but if some of them are starting to free swim today, then definitely by tomorrow it'll be a lot more free swimmers, and I can definitely start to heavily feed then, or even later today. Y'all stay tuned. But right now I'm about to do a 50% water change on day 8. So I took out probably about 55 to 60% of the water that's in here, and I'm going to fill it up with more water. I'm going to be putting 50% of the water that's from in here into the other tank, because eventually they're going to be going into this tank with the plecos, and when I start to feed and stuff like that, the plecos are going to be able to help me to clean up a lot of the excess food that I start to feed them. After the 50% water change, as you can see, they are starting to fill out and look more like fish. Their egg sac, or their yolk sac, is starting to get a lot smaller as well. The top view of what the fish fry look like. Let me see if I can zoom in. It's a lot of them. More over here too as well. Look at the bubbles are going on. The filter's going on, you really can't see it too well. But there's a lot of activity in here, and soon there'll be a free swimming. I can go ahead and start feeding them. So I'm not really seeing too many free swim, but some are free swimming. So a mistake that I made last time was during this phase, because I can see that they're not just wiggling, so I guess they are free swimming, I guess, kind of. A mistake that I made last time was not feeding them, and I believe that some of them end up dying. So right now, a lot of the fry are starting to free swim, and this is my 3rd time feeding them today, and I've done 2 water changes because I wasn't sure on how much to feed them. But now it seems like there's still a good amount of them just hanging around the bottom, but I'm glad to see a lot of them are actually starting to free swim, and they're trying to eat the food that I dropped in there. I figure I feed them a few different times because there's so many of them in here that I want them all to get a chance to eat. So today we're on day 9 of having these eggs in this 10-gallon tank right here. Still a lot of movement. With the fry, I noticed that a few die off every day, so I'm basically guessing maybe the ones that weren't strong enough to survive are just dying off if they probably have defects, or if they're not healthy enough, is what I've been noticing. Not many deaths, but about every day for the 9 days, at least 1 or 2 seem to be dying off, or either it's the unfertilized eggs, but I mostly got all the unfertilized eggs out. So maybe about 1 or 2 each day seem to die, which is pretty good considering how many of these things are in here. I think I'm gonna figure out a different plan for something smaller to be able to feed them, so they don't have to run around trying to chase their food. So I'll be able to figure it out. I took the pleco out because the pleco seemed like he was doing more damage than good as far as polluting the water, because if you know anything about plecos, they poop a lot. So I don't want the fish to be able to eat any of that poop, so I might put some larger snails in here to be able to help me out for the time being. because I just don't think the pleco is the way to go right now in this small of a tank. After I get done doing this feed, I'm gonna definitely do another 50% water change. So right after this moment, I left to go to the pet store to pick up some mystery snails so they could help with cleanup duty. But when I got back, I realized that a lot of the fish were missing, and I was in complete devastation when I figured out what had occurred. When I got back from the store, I looked in the tank and something looked off. The tank looked very empty compared to how it looked before I left. So the first thing I thought was the pleco ate all these fry, but I remembered I removed some before I left. So then it came to me to check the filter on. Man, I was devastated. Long story short, the filter sucked up most of these fry. Some of the fry were in the bottom of the filter free swimming, so those I was able to save, but the majority of the fry ended up getting caught into this filter and I couldn't save them. What was once a grout tank teeming with fry was now drastically reduced, and I wish I would have went with a sponge filter right off the bat. Since I didn't have one, I had to order one ASAP. So these are all the ones the filter wiped out, almost more than half of them. And there are some that are alive in here right now. And I'm gonna have to do my best with trying to get them out. So I'm gonna go ahead and begin trying to get the ones that I can find that are alive out. It's not going to be easy and it's not going to be pretty, but I'm gonna try my best. So I was able to pour some of these out of the filter that I found because I was trying to figure out where did all the fish go, but a lot of them are in the corner and they ended up dead. So I have to get them out of here so they don't pollute the water. So these are the fry that I was able to recover, which I'm very thankful for. I lost probably about, I would say, close to 75% of the population that was once in here. Before, there were fry all over the place, all over the bottom, some swimming, but now you can clearly see that the tank still looks empty compared to what it did a few hours ago. I definitely learned a lesson that could have been avoided. It is what it is. I'm gonna just take this one on the chin and I'm gonna do better next time. So I just went ahead and started feeding them for the second time today after I did a little cleanup. And I also put some snails in here, some black racer snails, to help clean up the bottom of the tank. So when this food starts to fall, and things of that nature, they can go ahead and start munching down. But you live and you learn.